Have you ever had the strange feeling that there's something different about you? As if your soul carries a secret no one ever told you, yet somehow you've always known. Maybe that feeling isn't just intuition. Maybe it's the beginning of an awakening, a silent calling, a spiritual reminder that you were never meant to be ordinary, because you were chosen. Enoch, the one who walked with God and was taken without tasting death, spoke about the chosen ones. He saw a generation marked from within, ordinary people in the eyes of the world, yet carrying an invisible glow, seen only through the eyes of heaven. He saw souls who would carry a longing for the heights, a restlessness that nothing on earth could satisfy. And he saw you. Yes, you. The one who feels too much, thinks too much, cares too much. The one who tried to fit in and couldn't. The one who walks with a hidden emptiness in the chest, even having everything they said would be enough. That emptiness has a name. Dormant purpose. And now it's beginning to wake up. Not by chance, but because the time has come. This project is a calling, not for everyone, but for those who feel, for those who hear the whispers amidst the noise, for those who can no longer pretend that everything is okay. If this message lights something within you, stay with me, because what Enoch saw is happening now, and you are part of it. My name is George, and I'll walk with you on this journey. Here, every word was crafted to touch your spirit and activate what the world tried to silence in you. If this resonated somewhere deep in your soul, subscribe to the channel. This isn't just content. It's a calling. And you've just answered it. The calling that begins in silence. Have you ever felt like you were being watched by something invisible? Not with fear, but with a strange sense that someone knew of your existence long before you were born. That's not madness. It's the beginning of awakening. And if you're reading this now, know this. Enoch saw you. Long before time was counted, before religions were born, a man named Enoch walked with God and was taken, lifted without tasting death. But before that, he recorded visions. Visions that spoke about you, about those who would be set apart for confusing times, carrying a silent light, a burning restlessness, even when everything on the outside seems calm. Do you feel something inside of you beginning to awaken? A new courage, a desire to reconnect with something greater than routine. That is the beginning. And Enoch foresaw this moment. You don't need to have all the answers. What matters is not ignoring the signs. They're subtle but certain. That chill for no reason. That tear that falls without pain, that silence that seems to call you inward. All of these are pieces of the calling. Many ignore it, go on distracted. But the marked ones, they feel, and they can no longer pretend they don't. Your journey isn't about standing out. It's about waking up to something that's always been with you, but the world tried to silence. You've been seen, you've been marked. And now you are being remembered. Enoch recorded this process with words that burn because they speak directly to the spirit. He didn't speak of crowds. He spoke of individuals, of unique souls set apart with purpose. And are you one of them? If this message burned somewhere inside of you, keep walking. In the next part, we'll talk about the invisible marks that the chosen carry, not on their skin, but in their essence. Marks that ache when purpose is ignored. Marks that shine when truth is touched. Do you carry one of these marks? Let's find out together. The invisible mark of the chosen. Chosen one, have you ever felt a pain that no one sees? A tightness in your chest that doesn't come from any recent loss, but seems to scream from within. Have you ever woken up with a sadness that wasn't yours, or cried without knowing why? If so, you may be carrying the invisible mark. This mark can't be seen with the eyes. It doesn't show up in tests, nor can it be explained by logic. But it pulses, it burns, and it reminds you every day that you are not like the others. That's not weakness, it's a calling. Have you noticed how people come to you to unburden themselves even without much closeness? Or that when you speak, your voice seems to calm the atmosphere? Have you ever felt that your presence in certain places shifts the energy even without trying? That too is part of the mark. It doesn't shout, but it vibrates. And those in pain can feel it. Enoch wrote that those marked would be called to carry light where there is darkness. But first, they would have to survive periods of deep silence. Do you know what that means? Those moments when it seems like heaven is silent, when everything loses color, when you feel invisible, directionless. That's also part of the journey. You may have gone through losses, rejections, betrayals, and still something inside you didn't break. Maybe it cracked, but it didn't go out. That is the mark. The flame that doesn't extinguish. And it doesn't matter how much they try to put out that light. It always returns. Because it didn't come from you. It came from God. And it was given with a clear purpose. To remind you who you are when the world tries to make you forget. The mark also shows up in the details. In your discomfort with lies. In the intuition that warns you before something happens. In the love for things no one values anymore. The sunset, the silence, the connection with nature, the hidden tears. That is all God's signature in you. But pay attention. Those who carry this mark also carry a responsibility. You can no longer pretend you don't feel. You can no longer ignore what burns within you, because that pain is your spiritual GPS. It's God saying, I chose you, and the time has come. Enoch saw this mark. He described the chosen as beings of silent light, who would not be applauded, but would have a gaze that reveals eternity. Have you ever noticed your own eyes? Seen the depth others say you have? That's not aesthetics, that's spirituality. Chosen one, the mark is alive. And if you've come this far, it is activated in you. In the next chapter, we'll talk about discomfort as a sign of awakening. That feeling of not belonging, of being in the wrong place, even when surrounded by people. That is no coincidence. It's heaven pushing you toward your true path. I'll see you in the next part. The journey is only beginning. The discomfort that awakens the chosen ones. Chosen one, have you ever felt like you're in the right place, but with your soul in the wrong one? Have you looked around and thought, this can't be all, this isn't enough? That strange feeling, as if the world couldn't fit inside you, is not a mistake. It's a warning. That discomfort, that restlessness, is one of the first signs of awakening. Enoch saw it. He wrote about a people who, even surrounded by many, would feel alone, who would walk among crowds, but with their hearts turned toward the heavens. Enoch wrote that the time of awakening would begin with a growing discomfort, a sort of misalignment. You even try to adapt, try to stay quiet, but your soul starts to scream. It knows it was made for more. Have you ever felt out of place even within your own family? Have you ever been the different one, the strange one, the one who's too sensitive? Have you tried to shape yourself to please others, only to realize that in doing so you lost a part of yourself? Enoch wrote about that, about those who would awaken through tears, through loss, through deep pain, but who, in the midst of that pain, would catch a glimpse of something greater. Have you had that glimpse? A peace that visits you for no reason, an unexplainable certainty that you were made for more. Those moments are heaven whispering, I'm still here. and you are still mine. Don't fight that feeling. Listen to it. The discomfort is God removing the illusions so you can see the truth. And the truth is, you are a chosen one. You carry a light the world doesn't know how to handle. That's why they tried to silence you, mold you, discredit you. But no force can extinguish what heaven has lit. Maybe you're right at that crossroads now, torn between continuing to pretend everything is fine or diving into the truth that burns. Enoch wrote that this would be the turning point for the marked ones. Some would go back, others would rise. And you? Will you keep canceling yourself to fit where you never belonged? Or will you accept the calling, even with fear? Chosen one, don't worry if you don't have all the answers. Heaven doesn't look for the perfect. It calls the available. Those who have the courage to feel, to change, to obey the voice no one else hears, but inside you is as clear as a silent thunder. In the next chapter, we'll talk about the dreams, the signs, and the invisible whispers that the chosen ones begin to perceive when they accept who they truly are. Until then, take a deep breath and accept the discomfort as a teacher, because it is preparing you for something greater. The invisible signs and the whispers of the Spirit. Chosen one, have you ever dreamed something that felt more real than the next day? Ever woken up with tears in your eyes and a sense that you just returned from somewhere? That isn't here? That's not fantasy. That's spiritual memory. Enoch saw that, and he wrote about it. Among the hidden writings of Enoch, he describes a group that would have visions, deep dreams, and would hear whispers without any apparent source. That group is you, the chosen ones, those whose minds would be opened while the world sleeps. The signs start small, a repeated number sequence, a word that appears in different places, a song that plays at the exact moment your heart breaks. A stranger who says something that feels like a direct answer to a question you only asked in thought. And do you know what's most curious? As you awaken, the noise of the world begins to lose its sparkle. Superficial conversations no longer nourish you. Distractions feel empty. You're not becoming strange. You're becoming clear. The veil is falling. Enoch saw this. He saw that the chosen ones would be those who see the invisible, feel what cannot be explained, and carry a connection that no one around them would understand. Are you one of them? Have you ever felt a collective pain, a deep sadness with no apparent reason, as if you were crying for people you don't even know? That too is a sign. The chosen one feels the weight of the world because your soul was molded to carry light where there is darkness. But remember, you are not alone. Enoch prayed for you. He interceded for your soul. And now, after centuries, heaven is activating what was written. Have you noticed how certain words seem to pierce you like arrows, as if they were written for you, as if somehow someone was narrating your story? It's because we are. Because this is real. And because your soul recognizes the truth, even when your eyes are still confused. Chosen one, the signs won't stop. They will intensify. You just need to keep listening. The journey is only beginning. The invisible war against the chosen ones. Chosen one, there is a truth Enoch made clear, even without using these exact words. No one awakens without provoking a reaction. Heaven moves, but so does the shadow. And if in recent times you felt a heavy burden, confusion without reason, extreme exhaustion, or sudden doubts about everything you once believed, know this: it's part of the invisible war. Enoch saw this moment. He described a time when the chosen would be attacked not with swords, but with doubts, not with prisons, but with distractions, not with open persecution, but with inner exhaustion. A silent, deep, and strategic attack. These thoughts don't come from nowhere. They are part of the confrontation. The enemy isn't bothered by those who sleep. He fears those who begin to remember who they are. That's why, when light awakens, pressure increases. Enoch wrote that the chosen would feel as if they were being tested to the limit, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Have you felt this? Days when everything feels heavy for no reason. People drifting away, doors closing. Situations that make you question your own identity. All of this is an attempt at spiritual erasure. But here is the key. If there wasn't something valuable in you, there wouldn't be a war. Enoch saw that the chosen would carry an ancient flame, and every flame disturbs the darkness. That's why the attack isn't direct. It comes disguised as routine, tiredness, fear, procrastination, and confusion. But there's something important. The war intensifies when you get closer to the truth. So don't be surprised if, the more you awaken, the more temptations appear to distract you. More doubts arise. More voices try to convince you to give up. This is not a sign of error. It's a sign of progress. The chosen one doesn't win by strength, but by perseverance. To remain faithful to what you feel. To stay connected to what is true. To keep going even when no one understands. Enoch called this moment the narrowing of the path, where few continue, where many return to the comfort of spiritual sleep. But those who press on cross over, and in crossing over, something changes forever. If you've come this far, it's not by accident. You are at war, but you are not defeated. You are awakening, and heaven is watching every step you take. The invisible mark of the chosen one. The time has come to speak about what you feel, but can't explain. A mark, not on your body, but on your soul. A kind of seal that burns when you drift away from what's true. A deep discomfort when you're outside of your purpose. Enoch saw this, and he called it the light in the bones. Even after loss, rejection, failure, something inside you still believes, still hopes, still seeks. And it's that hope that sets you apart, because it didn't come from the outside. It was placed in you before you were even born. The mark makes you sensitive to what others ignore. You perceive the evil hidden behind smiles. You feel the energy of the room, the weight of a conversation, the pain of someone, even when they say nothing. Sometimes it confuses you, other times it drains you. But it's part of who you are. You are not fragile. You are marked. And every marked one also carries responsibility. Because you can no longer live asleep, pretending you don't feel, ignoring the calling. When you try to live an ordinary life, your soul screams. Your body feels heavy. Your thoughts won't quiet. It's the mark reacting. It's been activated. Maybe in a dream, in a moment of pain, in a forgotten prayer, or in a video like this. But once activated, it no longer lets you be who you were. And that's when everything changes. Because you realize you were never like the others. That your mission is not to follow, but to lead. Enoch saw this mark as a living ember under the skin of the soul. And it lights up in specific moments, when you see injustice. When you feel you're living beneath what you were called to. When something moves you for no logical reason. When a word pierces you, as if it were written just for you. These moments are not coincidences. They are signs from the mark saying, you were seen, you were chosen, and deep down you know. You don't need proof, because the mark doesn't need to be explained, only felt. And those who feel it never forget. That's why many try to silence the marked, call it drama, exaggeration, too much sensitivity. But Enoch warned, the world will not understand the eyes that see beyond. The mark also shows itself in your connection to the invisible. You feel when something is about to happen. You've had prophetic dreams. You've cried without knowing why. You've felt homesick for a place you've never visited. And all of this scares you at times. But in truth, it's God reminding you who you are. Enoch interceded for you. He saw the burden the chosen would carry. And that's why he wrote in detail, left clues, prophecies, whispers, so that when the time came, you would recognize the mark and understand. You're not crazy. You're waking up. The signs of spiritual awakening. Chosen one, if you've made it this far, you've already noticed something inside you is different. More awake, more alert, more sensitive, and it's not by accident. You're going through what we call the awakening of the marked ones. Enoch saw this, and he wrote clearly, "At the appointed time, those who carry the invisible light will begin to hear without sound, see without eyes, and feel without touch." Maybe you're already experiencing these signs. They begin subtly. A restlessness without explanation. A discomfort in places that once brought peace. A tear that falls without sadness. A shiver that doesn't come from cold. And suddenly you realize you're changing. What once made sense now feels empty. Ordinary conversations sound superficial. Old desires no longer fulfill you. And you begin to search, not for something outside, but for something within. That search is one of the first signs. The second sign is spiritual sensing. You walk into a room and feel the energy. You know when something is off. You perceive what no one says. And even if you try to ignore it, you can't. Your soul responds before your mind understands. Maybe you've dreamed of unfamiliar places, or woken up with your heart racing, feeling something important was said while you slept. Yes, God speaks to the marked like this, through dreams, sensations, intuitions. Enoch saw and described this as visions in the night, where the heavens pour instructions upon those who walk among the sleeping. The third sign is the feeling of not belonging. It's as if the world is too small for your soul. As if everything around you is beautiful, but not enough. You feel homesick for something you can't name. A kind of spiritual home. An origin your mind forgot, but your soul remembers. Chosen one, if you've come this far, it's because something inside you responded. Maybe you can't explain it in words, maybe you can't name it, but you felt it. At some point, in the midst of all you read, something lit up, as if you were hearing an ancient voice that has always been there, quiet yet firm, calling your name. This journey wasn't just about beautiful words or spiritual reflections. It was about remembrance, about bringing to the surface what the world tried to bury. Enoch saw a generation that would awaken, not through visible miracles but through small signs. People who spent years believing they were strange, too sensitive, misplaced, and then one day realized they were marked. Are you one of those people? If during this walk you cried, got chills, or found yourself silently overwhelmed, know this: it was more than emotion. It was connection. Your soul recognized what your mind is still trying to understand. And that's exactly how the awakening of the chosen begins. Through feeling, not logic. Heaven doesn't shout, it whispers. And once you start listening, everything around you seems to shift. The world remains the same, but you can no longer be the same. And that's a good sign, because it means something in you has been activated. And once activated, sleep is no longer possible. Enoch left warnings for this generation. He knew the world would be noisy, confusing, full of distractions. But he also knew the marked ones would find their way, even among ruins, even tired, even alone. They would remember, not by their own merit, but because they were seen before birth. And heaven does not forget its chosen. What comes next won't be easy, but it will be real. It won't be light, but it will be eternal. The road of the marked isn't paved with applause. It's paved with depth. Every tear that fell was a seed. Every silence was training. Every pain you thought would break you actually prepared you. And now you're ready. Not ready in the conventional sense, but spiritually ready. Ready to remember. Ready to walk. Ready to obey the voice that called you from within. Ready to shine, even without knowing how much light you carry. Ready to accept that you were never like the others, and that this difference is exactly what makes you necessary in the divine plan. So breathe deeply, receive this truth. You were seen, you were chosen, you were marked, and now you are being sent. And before you go, I want to ask you something simple. If any part of this journey touched you, leave the word "remember" in the comments, just like that. Simple. Remember. That will be the silent sign that you heard the call, that even in the rush of life, you remembered who you are. And I'll be there in the comments, reading every word and feeling heaven move with you. The journey is only beginning. I'll see you in the next step, chosen one. You are not alone. You never were. Now go and light the way for others.